Still business this week, and I already have my guest seated, and on the show this afternoon we'll be taking a critical look at the current economic hardship and how small businesses, small scale businesses are able to survive, or how they'll be able to survive and remain in business. I have my guest seated already, and I can call him an economist, but he's an entrepreneur as well. Benedict Ochago. Good afternoon, Benedict.
Good afternoon.
Good to have you on the show.
It's always
Happy New Year to you. This is the first time we're meeting here.
Definitely.
All right.
It's always a pleasure.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, a lot has been happening. Since May 29th, 2023, Nigeria has not remained the same. Everybody can actually attest to that. Since the removal of fuel subsidy is gone. The price of everything in the market has increased. When you ask the reason why, you hear, not before we take the go market, in the local parlance, people go with fuel to anywhere you're going, you go with transportation. And we have small businesses everywhere. As an entrepreneur, as someone who is into small scale business, how do you think basically that small businesses can survive and stay in business in this harsh economic situation?
Well, if I'm here to begin to tell how the business will stay afloat right now, I may not really be able to prefer that solution from the standpoint of the business people. Because the forces that control the businesses is beyond those that are doing the business. You can also say sometimes that those doing in the business can actually control the force of the market. But the external causes that has to do with government officials, government policies, and all of that, are the major problem that the small and medium scale enterprises are facing right now. The policies of government and supervision is not there. In terms of policy and in terms of execution, there's a kind of big
gap.
problem.
In between both.
Between both. Now, if any economy will run, the government must develop a strong will that will enable them develop policies and execute those policies to encourage the small scale and medium enterprises. Because all over the world, these are the people that drive the economy. If Nigeria is serious about economic redemption, they must design policies and sincerely execute those policies in such a way that it will favor and encourage small and medium scale enterprises. Because what we are having right now is a case where the policies and environment created by the system is such that the business owners are struggling. Let me tell you the first-hand information about what happens in the market right now. You cannot even project the market force as a business person.
Because you don't know how it's going to turn out the next day.
You cannot even make your plans right now. For example, commodities are sold for certain amounts. I was hearing you read out all the increment, the percentage, and all of that. Those are paper. When you go into the market, you will understand that what is tenable in the market is quite different
from what they give out to us.
What we are experiencing right now is hyperinflation. Yes, you can say that we have not gotten to the level of Venezuela because Venezuela is a kind of description of a doomed economy right now. But we are not so far from it.
We're going to be looking at this whole topic from the angle of an entrepreneur and someone who is a lecturer and economist who understand the principle of economics even more better than some of us here. I have Jimmy Oko joining us in the studio. Jimmy Oko is a lecturer in one of the big institutions we have in Benin City here. Good afternoon, Jimmy.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you for having me.
So Ben, you were saying something before Jimmy joined us. So just conclusively before I go to him.
All right. I was talking about the survival of the small business. Because the government or the policymakers has created an environment that is not conducive. In the sense that as a business person, you cannot make plans, you cannot make projections. And by the time you are boxed into a corner where you cannot make plans and make projections, then business becomes very difficult.
Okay.
Because business tries on the platform of plans, projections.
Okay.
For example, if you want to access a loan, you access a loan based on plans and projections.
Yeah.
That, okay, for example, at the end of this month, this is what I want to get some goods, I want to stock my shop or my business, and then I need money like this, I need money like this. But because of the ups and downs in the economic policies, you can no longer make those projections. Okay. And then again, the kind of inflation we're experiencing, for me, has beaten every known economic
principles or policies
and all of that. Because you cannot explain it. Of course, when you want to talk about hyperinflation, a situation where you come today, tomorrow, it has become another thing.
True.
If you go look at the trend at which the prices of commodities increase in the market. 3 weeks ago, for example, a bag of cement was about 5,500 naira.
Okay. I was going there, but you're already there. So let's go ahead. I was going there, but you're already there. So let's continue. Yeah.
And then just within 3 weeks, the thing has increased from that amount to
double of it,
to between 10,000 and 12,000 naira.
For a bag.
For a bag of cement.
Okay.
What economic principle will you use to explain that?
Okay.
If you see, last year, January, I was here to talk about our budget and how we service our budget and all of that. And sometimes, and I made the category that I'm not a prophet of doom. But the thing is that we must be very, very sincere with ourselves, because economics is a very stubborn social science.
Okay.
Such that if you don't play the game according to the rule, the effect will show.
Okay.
There is no politics to cover it.
To cover it up.
And that's what we have been doing over the past 8 years.
All right.
What we have been doing is that the policy makers, the drivers of the economy, have not been sincere, have not been effective, and they've not been sincere. And we have been able to package falsehood at this point where it has boomeranged.
Okay.
And if government want to do something, because the small and medium scale enterprises are the verges, if a high percentage of them are collapsing. And if you want to get it right economically, if you want your economy to boom,
those are the people that should be looked into.
They are the drivers.
Yeah, they are the drivers of the economy.
They are the people that host it.
Yeah.
If you must create an environment that is, and look at what is happening. We are experiencing all of this, and government is still increasing import duties.
Import duties.
What are you doing?
That's true.
What are you saying? Because then what you are creating is part of imported inflation.
Okay.
Because when we talk about inflation, now we can now say there are times we experience what we call the demand pull inflation, which is normal. That happens everywhere in the world. Is a fundamental economic principle, where the higher the demand for the goods, the higher the price. But right now, that's not what we are facing alone. We are facing cash push or the cost push inflation, which has to do with the cost of production, the people bringing it, and all of that. As a businessman, there are sometimes when you want to call those from the north to help me supply the goods, something. They will tell you there's no light to process the goods and all of that. There is no light. And then if they have to use diesel, they buy a diesel for 1,200
as the case may be, as the case may be, depending on the market factor, like you just said.
And then all of that, automatically, the cost of production has increased. And that will actually affect
the cost, the price as well
of supply and all of that. And then again, the major thing that causes inflation in terms of the food right now and all of that commodity is haulage. Because of the because the movement from one place to another is no longer easy for the drivers, the trucks, and how to get a lot of things are responsible.
Even bad roads are also part of it as well.
They are also part of it.
Insecurity are also part of it.
In fact, there are a lot of things. The government need to develop a strong will and be sincere in the approach to solve this problem. Because what I have seen the president do since he came back from France is just a kind of gaslighting and maybe immediate kind of patch up.
Effect.
And this patch up are the things we have been doing for the past 8 years.
And it's not working. It seems not to be working.
It will not work. It will not work. But when we talk, some people see us as a kind of antagonist and all of that.
All right.
But look at where we are right
now. Let me go to the expert, an economic expert. He's a lecturer, so I believe you understand the system very well more than us. So, Jimmy, we're looking at the current economic hardship. How small businesses should remain in business. Like he said, they are the drivers of the economy. You as an economist, what would you attribute to this? What would you say about this? How would they remain in business in order for the economy to be moving forward? December last year, our inflation rate pegged at 28.90%. Just January, the NBS released their normal report, and we're having 29.90, an increase again. It was 21 point some percentage as at before December, but before you knew it, it was 28, now 29. As an economist, someone who is into the system, what do you think should really be done to ward off all of this and keep small businesses in business?
All right. Thank you very much. Well, it's a big issue, you understand. The truth is that, like you rightly outlined, there is nothing any country can do without the activities of these small businesses. We call them SMEs.
Yeah.
So they must be allowed to function. They must be encouraged to function before we can say that the economy is actually improving.
Okay.
To even start with, I do not think that the figures that are released by NBS
are correct.
Are very correct.
But why do you say so? Because you are an economist.
Sure, okay. Because everything in our country has become so
political.
Yeah. My brother, economic issues all around the world are supposed to be taken far from politics. Okay. So, yes, we understand that as a president, as a governor, you have to do some political calculations to arrive at the office. But when you get there, there are some sectors that you should not allow the elements of politics to come destroy. In. Otherwise, you'll be going.
True.
A friend has told me that a quack medical doctor may only be able to kill a patient, just one person, one time. But a bad economic policy,
kill everybody at a time.
Not only the present, even the future of the country will be gone. So it is an important thing. Unfortunately, the government we have has not actually, doesn't have these persons that will see the economy of a nation as something that should be handled differently from other sectors of the politics.
Yeah.
You look at what has happened to the CBN, look at what's happening in the Ministry of Finance, all the agencies that have direct impact on how the economy should run. They have all been subjected to political discussions every day.
Yeah.
Well, yes, what is crippling the small businesses? I don't only want to say because we have borrowed, we are owing or anything. I think the government, as part of the insincerity of those there, have also kind of made bogus attempts to destroy these small businesses, whether knowingly or unknowingly. If you look at very big businesses in Nigeria, which are not very many, they are the ones who directly or indirectly finance people who are in politics. And at the end of the day, when they are there, these persons
like a payback time.
bring up all manner of suggestions to cripple small businesses so that they can
gain.
In basic economies, there's something we work towards, which every society is encouraged to work towards.
Yeah.
It's called perfect competition.
Okay.
That means the government must try as much as possible to create open competitiveness in the industry.
Okay.
Every sector of the economy, if you do that, if you are talking about...
Sorry, we just need to go on a short break. All right, welcome back from that short break, and we're still talking about sustaining small-scale businesses in a harsh economic condition we're facing right now in Nigeria. And I still have my guests, Benedict Ochagu and Jimmy Oku, seated in the studio, joining me to take a critical analysis into the issues. So, Jimmy, you were saying something before we went on that short break. So, you still have the floor.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, we're trying to say that the market space we have right now, those in government have actually done one or two things to deviate from the expectation of having a perfect competitive market into an imperfect market, such as a monopolistic system. That is what we have, where you have Take, for instance, the production of cement in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We know what is happening now.
He made mention of that before. He made mention of that.
A few weeks ago, it was a bag was 5,000 something, which Nigerians have not even come to terms with. Why should a bag of cement be sold for 5,000? But just a couple of days, it's now over 10,000 naira. Where is the decision coming from? The thing is this: there are many factors that are responsible for inflation. We agree.
Okay.
Cost push is one major part of it that is affecting Nigeria now, because the cost of production have not been moderated by the government.
Okay.
The government holds so many functions as to regulating the cost of production all across the sectors in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The government is failing in that area.
Okay.
Then the decision, like in the basic economy, there's something we call external economies, the advantages of producing things many.
Okay.
That advantages go on to affect when we produce more by so many companies. But these big producers, they have established fraternity with the government, with those in politics.
More like an association with the politicians.
We assist you, we give you the money to campaign and do that. When you finish, you come back. You help us enable some policies that will only let us to remain. These small ones are not able to cope anymore. When the cost of production become very high, the first ones to feel it, the small scale businesses, they are out of it.
Okay.
Because they have not been exposed to large scale funding.
That's true.
Just imagine that Dangote Cement is writing to Zenith Bank and say, send me 500 million naira to do this. When we finish production, we'll send you this.
They will not hesitate.
Yes. How many small companies can do that? It's not possible. The government that is supposed to stand to help these smaller companies, as it is in all other countries of the world. As a matter of fact, what government do in different countries is help to increase taxes on these big companies and use the same thing to fund smaller
small businesses.
Then by so doing, you are increasing the competitiveness of the whole thing. And when there is larger supplies of these products, the demand pull inflation element in the whole general inflation condition will now be eroded. Then there is no way the price will not start falling. But the government is not doing so. It's very unfortunate. We would expect things like that to be done now. Government should play active roles, like A, B, C. These are the things we can see. What you will do, the functions the government will play to say, okay, we are going to enable these people to do
business to do this.
If you want to consider the cost of the raw materials, how do they get them? We understand transportation affect them too. They are all part of it.
There is a part of everything.
The funniest thing too. The activities of the trade union have also
be a part. That is another topic on its own.
The economy in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, if those in government as we speak right now want to salvage anything, want to help Nigerians, not this want to open
the grain reserve.
No reserve. Not for a country like Nigeria that has over 200 million people.
You want to open a grain reserve to bring out food.
As a matter of fact, reserves were made for very unforeseen
circumstances.
Maybe when there are natural disasters somewhere and all that. That's segments, not for the whole country. It's not going anywhere. So if the federal government is ready to do anything right now, want to start seeing policies that will go into the activities of trade unions. Just imagine, there's let me give you this example. In one of the local markets where we get food stuff, there's this woman that sells fishes there. That is where we buy. So anybody that is coming from outside, a call can come and say, please
help me to buy bring fish for me.
So that is how we do it in the house. One day I received the call that I should, and I'm not supposed to pay. I don't supposed to know the amount.
Price.
I just go and say, okay, they say you should give me fish. I take to the house. They know how to settle
themselves.
Only for me to stop. I got there. I think it was about 4 p.m. or so. I asked the woman. They said you should bring fish. He said, brother, sorry,
price don't change.
I can't. No, I can't sell again.
She doesn't even have to sell.
Have you exhausted all your fish? He said, no, I haven't. But so sorry, please. She brought down her voice and started telling me, I still have cartons, but I am not allowed to sell
because of trade
union.
Why?
He said they allocated only 2 cartons for her to sell
in a day.
There are touts in the market that are funded by the unions to go around and start monitoring these women.
Wow.
If you sell more than 2 cartons, you are in trouble. Do you know why? This woman has a market strategy. When she comes, that size of fish another person is saying you must pay 1,600. She looks at her cost, how much she bought in the transport. And so at least it is fair to sell 1, 2, fair to sell 1, 3.
Yeah.
I'll still get something I want to get. And go home. She's able to do that. Because of that, everybody knows her.
So people troops to her shop.
Yeah, they always go there to buy. But the activity of the market, as we speak, crayfish sellers in all the Nigerian market have their unions. And the union dictates at what price these things should be sold. It's not supposed to be.
True.
These are imperfect situations we are creating into our markets.
Yeah.
The government should rise up at this point in time. If you want to help Nigerians, rise up now. Go into the activities of the trade union. It has happened before under military.
Yeah.
When they publish the prices of everything and say, if you sell above this, you are in trouble. So you may not be able to do it as military government will do, but the government should bring up a policy to neutralize the powers of these local unions that are operating in our markets. Because whether you like it or not, we are talking about cement just now.
Yeah.
Cement may not be the immediate need of an average
Nigerian. That's true. That's true.
What we talk about first is food. That is why I told you earlier that I do not agree with the figures of NBS.
Okay.
Because what is happening now, you cannot interpret 35% full inflation that you have published.
Yeah, true.
Going through the market and seeing how much prices have doubled, have tripled over a few days. So why the government should do that? Then government should. We understand that issue of electricity.
There's another issue on its own.
Yes, electricity is part of our cost push inflation which we experience.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, a few days ago, we heard that the federal government
want to remove tariff from electricity, coupled with the tariff the subsidy removal.
The one in the oil sector, we've not even.
We're not done with that.
You are still
want to remove subsidy from electricity.
It's not supposed to be. I think the government, as a matter of fact, should make the power sector a case of.
But they said they will actually allow states to generate their own electricity.
But that is the problem. Edo and few other states have started doing that.
Generating.
But who has given them the rights?
The license.
They have not gotten.
Okay.
So if you want, that is why we said just now, that imperfect situations should be eroded. If you look at it, let people, as long as it is tradable products, let people have the right to do it. If you are able to navigate your ways and get these things at a cheaper rate, then you sell, then you make more a profit. Then let other people emulate that, prices will come down.
Okay.
Look at it, sir. Businessmen, when they are freed, when the government gives businessmen the freedom to go about their production, go about their economic activities in different ways they like, without unnecessary restrictions, I tell you, they are very smart people.
Okay.
They always have different alternative ways to go about their production and all that.
And know how to
make sure that things come out
of it.
Yes, cheaper. Look at it. It is this same country that things come from. You see, there are some products we are not known to be producing for many years.
For years.
We will have them. But some of these are boys, especially those in the East, they will settle down, produce that and say, this is a cheaper one. This is cheaper.
Yeah. But the problem still is that our people will still go to the market and tell you they don't want to buy Nigerian made.
No. See, you know where it's starting from?
Okay.
Nobody is even complaining about that.
Okay.
If you say, people are saying that they will not buy that, any man that is hungry is not the one saying that.
Why do you say so?
A bag of rice.
Yeah.
When President Buhari came on board, he complained that our consumption of foreign rice was a problem.
Yeah, that we should now go local.
Yes, he locked up the border. He said we want to force people to start eating local rice. We said, okay, bring the local rice. We want to eat. But at the end of the day, the local rice became far more expensive than
the foreign rice.
Then what do you expect people to do?
So they will now resort to buying the foreign rice as against the local rice.
Yes, after all, it's even better.
And getting the foreign rice, Forex is there. They will charge you on taxation and all that, import duties and all that.
So at the end of the, right now, amidst all of these considerations, it is not time to start locking up borders.
Okay.
It is not time to start restricting importations.
Okay.
We understand, by way of economics, we should be going into import substitution right now.
All right.
Producing more locally. But you cannot jump into that.
Okay.
That's the problem we've had over the years.
Time.
And that is why the handlers of our economy have succeeded destroying it with the intention to help.
To help.
You travel abroad, you see some policies, you see some things.
Yeah.
You don't know how these people came about this. You don't know how they prepared.
You just bring the idea to your country. This is how it happens over there. Let's come and do it in Nigeria.
Okay, go to China. They produce on 80% of what they consume. Okay, we must do that now. No. Then you've not laid foundation. What a responsible government should be doing right now is to say, okay, yes, while we are producing locally, we open. Let these things come. Then the government that is wise will start helping, assisting these small-scale
businesses
to start
producing.
If my brother, as a businessman, is able to produce some things, and he's saying the price is 5,000 naira, and somebody is importing, the cost of import and everything is part of it. And it's now saying, okay, that one is far more expensive. Will you be advising me to patronize him before I do?
Okay. Ben, now we don't have much time. We have less than 10, 11 or 12 minutes to wrap up the show. Yesterday or so, the president had a meeting with the 36 state governors, and they said they don't want to do importation of food item into the country. As we wrap up, that we have to eat what we produce locally. That he is not after importation, that's not the solution to the persistent, especially food prices and food problem we're having in the country. Do you think this is a right step in the right direction? Are there enabling environment now for we to produce locally? Or because the farms are not safe. People can't go to the farm because of the whole killer herdsmen and the bush, insecurity and all that. Do you think this is a right policy to also help little businesses grow? Because you and I know that some of these little businesses, they get their product from the farm. So the president saying they don't want importation anymore, that we should go local. Do you think it's a right step in the right direction?
Well, on the surface, any system that wants to go local, that is what the norm, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But we have a set of state governors that are very lazy. And then
why would you say so? Some are still hardworking. We have a lot of them. We have a lot of them that are hardworking.
No. See, if maybe you can just take like 5%.
Okay. Out of the 36 states.
Yeah, we have created a system that make our political office holders very lazy.
Yeah.
They don't think outside the box.
Okay.
It's all about what we can gain. And if you have a country of the population of over
more than 250 million
people, and you don't have a system where you can adequately feed yourself, that is a bomb ready to explode.
Okay, but we just pray it doesn't explode.
No, it has happened. It's already. We are already here. The reality is here.
Yeah, with the protest in some part of the countries and all that.
Of this, when we gained independence in 1960, our population was estimated about 50 million.
Yeah.
And then there were no projections into the future, so that we will be able to prepare for the surging population that are coming in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then this is where we are right now. That idea of every month going to get allocation in Abuja has made our state government
so lazy.
Very lazy.
At the end of the month, everybody is moving to the villa.
You have to come back home. And the federal government have a huge role to play in this.
Okay.
You have to set allocation according to your production capacity in your state.
Okay.
What are you doing to enhance production?
More like you are now saying, let's go to fiscal federalism or so.
No, all right, maybe. But what I'm trying to say is that if you are in the north, you have large acres of land. You cannot produce food. Don't wait that what comes from the oil,
come and push it for you.
No, because you have opportunity to make a lot of money from
agriculture.
Your state.
True.
From agriculture.
Yeah.
Nigeria is basically driven by agriculture. If we are saying. Yeah. And then when you are saying of course we know that there are cases of insecurity in the nation. the women and the men in the villages are not able to go to farm because of insecurity. They are not able to go to farm because of insecurity. Then what do you do? The government need to take responsibility in this farming. Make a public-private partnership
with farmers.
With farmers.
With those that are real farmers, not political farmers.
No,
because we have political farmers in Nigeria.
Ready to go into this. Create conducive environment. When you are saying insecurity in farming, it's not for government-private partnership because there will be adequate security.
Absolutely.
If you have a farmland that is from here to Okada, for example, there will be adequate security
to man the farmland.
Because government has taken charge of it.
That's true.
The places where they share the common matrimony, there is no insecurity there. And so if you are sincere, we must come back home and tell ourselves that in the next 10 years, we have to adequately feed ourselves. We have to feed ourselves because our population is surging every day. So we have to feed ourselves. And we have to sincerely design, because the last 8 years, what we have had are what I can call jamborees. There are no economic pathway to future prosperity. When you try to talk, the government just come, they gaslight. Tell us your policy. Let's know what are you doing. Now, let me tell you, for example, in 1999, between 1999 and 2007, when President Olusegun Obasanjo was the president office, what did he do to be able to write off the entire debt of Nigeria? Was that he went outside the board to pick technocrats, people that has capacity to design
those that are not politicians at all.
People that have capacity and the will to design politics and execute the politics in such a way that it will bring economic prosperity. And what was the result? That before he left office, we could see the result.
The changes. With the likes of Okonjo-Iweala,
the Soludo, Sanusi, and the rest of them. He was able to achieve all of these things because he brought in people that have what it takes and
understand what is economics.
And then sincerely they were able to approach. But now in the last 8 years, what we have seen in the sphere of economics is nepotism. We bring people and then they come to design policies that perhaps, like he was trying to say, that is about individuals.
Individuals, not the nation at large.
Individuals, people are not being held accountable. Now, I was saying last year, we borrow, this is a nation of over 200 million people, we borrow to squander. That is very dangerous. Even as a business person, before you borrow, you have to look at where you are going to invest it. Because you know that when you borrow and you don't invest it, the debt will hang on you. And will hang on you.
And you even pay with interest.
With interest. But Nigeria, what Nigerians do is that they borrow. The problem,
borrow for political jamboree.
Lawrence, the problem we are having in Nigeria is that we have people who are not patriotic running the affairs of the nation. Because if patriotism is in place, there is no way you can borrow. Last year, it was at the current budget that is still running.
That's now, still running.
Because it was from 2023 and all of that.
Fiscal strategy paper.
2023 and all of that. It was about 8 trillion naira to service debt. 5 trillion.
5 trillion for 2023. Then for this 2024, it's 8.2 trillion naira to service debt.
To service. But do you know that now it is more than that? Because the more your naira is being devaluated, the higher it will increase. Nigeria debt was pegged at 77 trillion.
It's 87.9 as we stand.
No, that is not correct.
That was what they said.
Because the government tried to talk to us as this we are done.
They said it's 87.9. If you are saying
that at the time it was pegged, the dollar was between 700
and that's true.
750 and
so if you look at the exchange rate,
and now when you are going to pay according to the current rate. That's how business is done internationally. Don't come and gaslight us. We know what we are doing, and because these are the things we have been doing over the years, and it's not bringing results. People are suffering right now because of wrong economic policies, because of insincerity among those the handlers of the economy. We should come out once. Because the result, the negative outcome is here. What are you hiding? What are you hiding again? Like I said earlier, that economics is a very stubborn.
The reality is in front of us. We can see.
It's a very stubborn social science. If you don't go through the right path, the effect will show. There is no. You can come to make political statements, but when the effect, and that is exactly what we the economic hardship, and there is no solution in sight yet. That is the problem.
Let's round up. Jimmy, let me round up with you. As an economist, a lecturer of economics, what will be your advice to the government? Inflation now 29.92% as at January 2024. What will be your advice to turn this tide? Because we don't want it to go further. Because the governor of the CBN came out recently to say his purpose is to make sure inflation falls down to 21%. But he hasn't finished making that statement. It has risen from 28 to 29. So let's conclude with that. As an economist, what do you think they should do to bring down the inflation rate? Because it's telling on everybody, including you sitting down here. It's telling on us. Your advice before we round off.
Well, I actually don't take the general inflation rates.
Serious?
I take the food inflation rate.
Okay.
Because that's the thing that is actually...
That's affecting not almost everybody, everybody.
It's at 35%.
Yeah, it's 35%.
As those speaking to everybody, I want you people to start mentioning that one instead of the general one.
The general one.
That one is highly deceptive.
Okay.
For a country like Nigeria, it should be the food inflation.
Okay.
35%.
All right.
Well...
Quickly, just in less than a minute or two.
Well, I think the government,
okay.
the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not demonstrated to anyone that the right persons with the right brains is there to fix this issue.
Okay.
To start with, the advice should be that the president should go out.
Okay.
Go and look for persons.
Technocrats, like he mentioned.
Yes.
Economists, those that understand.
Yes.
Okay.
OBJ did it.
Yeah.
Jonathan did it. Many presidents have done it before.
Okay.
So it is time.
Why are you making an exception?
It is time for him to go out.
All right.
Look for ways to get persons who know the right thing to be done. And what is the right thing?
Okay.
To help the cost of production in Nigeria to drop.
All right.
2, the import duties should be revisited.
All right.
3, the activities of trade unions should be revisited.
Okay.
If you're able to do these 3 things, at least you will be on the way to solve it.
The dollarization of our economy should be criminalized.
Should be criminalized. Okay.
Our naira
is our currency. We should stick to the naira. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, my guest. I really had a nice time with the both of you. Honestly speaking, I wish we had more time, but I believe with time, we'll keep watching how the economy pans out, how things go. Let's see what happens next after the whole meeting they had yesterday with the governors and their plans. So that's the size of our package on the show this beautiful afternoon, Business This Week. I want to thank you for investing your quality time with us on the show. I'll see you again next week, God willing. I'm Lawrence Osifo saying bye for now.